Bangladesh remains in a volatile situation following the assassination and subsequent death of Sharif Usman Hadi, a prominent youth and student movement leader whose shooting on December 12 triggered mass protests and widespread unrest. Hadi was flown to Singapore for treatment but died of his injuries on December 18. Security forces and soldiers have been deployed across Dhaka and other major cities in an effort to control the protests and frequently turned violent, raising fears of broader instability just weeks before national elections slated for February 2026, which is less than 2 months from now. Uh, Tonight's discussion, although centers on a critical question: what does this convergence of political violence, communal targeting, and regional tension means for Bangladesh's upcoming elections and for the very survival of its democratic project? Can elections held in such an atmosphere be free, fair, and credible, or are we witnessing the further erosion of democratic norms under the pressure of populism, impunity, and street power? To help us unpack these issues, I'm joined by Salil Tripathi, a widely respected author, journalist, and human rights commentator whose work has long examined democracy, accountability, and dangers of majoritarian politics in overall South Asia, but he has specifically written in detail about Bangladesh. So, welcome, Salil. Welcome to Unraveled
Thank you
once
so
again.
much. Yeah.
So we have seen things have been unraveling in past week and a half, and we have seen anti-India protests in Bangladesh. And on Saturday there was a protest in Delhi in front of Bangladesh High Commission, on which Bangladesh has raised questions how uh, the mob arrived in the secure diplomatic zone. The same could be said about the attempted attack in Chittagong in on the Indian consulate. Um, this escalated situation, and then there was the mob attacked the Hindu man. It was, I think, on the same day, a day before the death of Usman Hadi was pronounced, or something, around this. So everything jumbled up together, and it was a huge royal mess. Whether to from now, Salil, how do you see this
I
thing?
wish I knew. I mean, that's all I can say. But I think, you were talking about the circumstances leading to the Bangladeshi democratic project and the signal failure, I think, on the part of the chief advisor, Mohammad Yunus, and,
Mm,
and their team has been in outlawing the Awami League. Because
mm,
by not allowing that party to participate in elections, it has
yeah,
basically created a it's a fixed game. I mean, that only
mm,
two teams can participate, the third one cannot. And
mm,
while BNP and Jamaat are opposing each other during the elections, and BNP, of course, being the former President Ziaur Rahman's party, and Jamaat being the
yeah,
party that was aligned with unification with Pakistan for a long time,
mm,
you have a system or a situation where all the voices and views in Bangladesh are not being represented. Now, Awami League did many wrong things, no question about it. But let them try and see and let them hear from the people of Bangladesh that they're no longer popular,
mm,
rather than it being imposed by, an unelected person, like, even if it's a respected Nobel laureate like Muhammad Yunus.
yeah,
Let it come from the people and tell Awami League that, we don't want you. That's fine. And
yeah,
it would be terrible for human rights and
mm,
for civil rights, for equality and everything, if any sectarian party gets power in Bangladesh. But if that's what Bangladesh chooses, we have to listen and understand why.
mm. But in your assessment, do you think elections are going to be held in these circumstances?
I really don't know, honestly, I really don't know. I mean, in theory, yes.
Mm,
What you have to see is from the assassination of Usman Hadi, and if you look at all that has happened earlier, you have to see who gains from this chaos.
Yeah.
The only entity that gains is the military. And unless we have any signals from the Bangladeshi military,
Mm,
we have to assume that the elections will go ahead. And if they go ahead, BNP will probably win a
mm,
large majority, and the Jamaat will be the opposition. But we all of us know, let's be honest, that at least 30 to 40% of Bangladeshi people
mm,
for the Awami League, and they will be crowded out in
mm,
that equation. And
mm.
that's the recipe for disaster. So
Yeah.
I think that Bangladesh is unfortunately destined for a period of instability.
Yes, but even if this didn't hadn't happened, elections were announced and everything would have been smoothly working towards the election in February. I had, this the way it has been announced by the Election Commission, for example, the referendum and the question of the referendum. It reminds me as a Pakistani. It reminds me of Ziaul Haq's referendum and then Musharraf's referendum. Uh, doesn't seem so democratic. The referendum question asks people to give blanket approval of whatever was agreed in the reform commission, or when Yunus government came in. So how do you see it? How
No,
democratic
I
it
mean,
is?
it's a bad question. I mean, you should
Mm.
not even what was the need for the referendum is what I would ask.
Yeah.
I mean, the Yunus government was not constitutional and not legitimate by
Yeah.
any reckoning. And I wish him well. He's a good economist. He has done a lot for the poor in Bangladesh. So I'm not
Mm,
questioning that at all. But I just feel that there was a chance for them not to get into the deeper questions of Bangladesh's identity
mm,
or about Bangladesh's society and republic as
mm.
it stands. So I think it was a completely unnecessary question.
Yeah, but it is. Do you think it will still happen?
It might. I mean, who knows? I mean, right now, there are no rules. That's the problem.
Mm,
And if they decide to go ahead with it, it will go. It will go ahead.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, most of the things that are happening in Bangladesh, we know through Indian lens or Pakistani lens. In Pakistani media, it is being reported as a big defeat of India. And in Indian media, largely reported as, for example, I was reading the Times of India, and it was 2 days ago, 2 days ago, and they had framed the news about the Bangladeshi protests as, the headline was that the brutal killing of a Hindu man erupts Bangladesh into violent protests, as if Usman Hadi didn't matter. It was, although I understand that it was absolutely two different episodes. Very unfortunate. And this Hindu man, I'm forgetting the name. He was killed as a terrible, terrible trend in almost all of the Muslim world, especially in Pakistan. In Pakistan, it also happens, and mostly it has happened with Christians and Muslim people, rather than Hindu people. Of course, they are also under attack, but this blasphemy thing has happened mostly with Christians and Ahmadis and other Muslims. Anyway, besides the point. But these, how it is being framed both in India and Pakistan, to me is problematic. How would you bring the Bangladeshi context into the discussion?
There isn't a Bangladeshi context here because I think you have to you have to question whether Bangladesh is Muslim or Bengali.
Mm,
And
mm,
the interesting part is that it is both. And as soon as you say it is both, two or three things become clear. One, that yes, religion is extremely important, but
mm,
it always coexists with other religions. That's
yeah.
how Bangladesh has been. It also means the culture of putrikas, which is these little leaflets and pamphlets that
Mm,
Bangladesh's Bengali speaking people brought out. The,
mm,
the earliest fighters for freedom against the British, when
mm,
all of us were one country,
mm,
were the Bengalis. And the Bengalis
Yeah.
rose, they were Hindus, they were Muslims, and they rose together because they thought this foreign rule was wrong.
Mm.
And when you look at their writing, it was basically about nationalism. And they didn't define it that, it was from Kandahar or Kabul all the way to
Mm.
Calcutta or wherever you want to call it. But that's the approach that they had. So
Mm.
the divisions are modern. I mean, Bangladesh became Bangladesh only in 1971. That's just over 50 years. And
Mm.
India and Pakistan were separated only in 1947. Now, I'm not saying that reuniting will be a good idea because, I mean, if
Mm.
we reunite, there'll be so many Muslims that BJP would not know how to rule India because
Mm.
it can't rule. It can barely govern an India with about 10 or 10% of Muslims. Can it govern with 30 or 40% of Muslims? It cannot. So the question doesn't arise. So that's out of the debate. But in that kind of a situation, what's happening today in Bangladesh is basically a debate about what kind of a country does it want to be?
Yeah.
Does it want to be a Bengali country or does it want to be a Muslim country? If it wants to become a Muslim country, then it becomes the mirror of Pakistan and Afghanistan and all the rest. And that's where the blasphemy debate becomes important. But if
Yeah.
not, there's a huge body of opinion in Bangladesh, and not just among the civil society that exists in Dhaka and Chittagong and Cox's Bazar, but everywhere across the country, where they've seen each other as poor and fighting for the same things, and which is how it ought to be everywhere. And
Yeah.
so to that extent, I think Bangladesh was trying to get it right, and I hope it
Mm.
continues to try to get it right.
We hope so too. But Salil, when I interviewed you, I think almost a year ago now, when there was an escalating situation in
Yeah.
Bangladesh, and Yunus government had come, were newly into power. You were, because this debate was ripe even then, that the protesters are mostly, agitators are mostly the right-wing radicals, and you had disagreed with that. You said it was, and then there was also in Indian media, it was framed as something that was instigated by Pakistan or ISI, and you had supported the argument that it was very organic. It was Bangladesh's internal, and youth's uprising, and calling it extreme right wing would not be fair, because there were all kinds of people, maybe mostly right wingers, but there were other kinds of people as well. But do you subscribe to the same view now as well?
So my view now is this: that what happened year and a half or a year and more ago was
Hmm.
an uprising and not a movement. And that's
Hmm.
a big difference because a movement has thought behind it. It has an ideology behind it and a leader behind it.
Hmm.
But what happened honestly, in my view, and I've not been there for a while, it was
Hmm.
an uprising essentially of people who were upset by the quotas.
Yeah.
And it was a job related protest, which
Hmm.
Hasina misread because she had been in
Hmm.
power for too long and she had
Yeah.
got 3 elections in a row, which were without any opponents.
Hmm.
So she thought that, she can ride roughshod over it, and she made that strategic mistake.
Hmm.
And therefore, that was the problem then.
Hmm.
Now, what happened after Hasina fell is that because Bangladeshi culture is similar to India and Pakistan, with this,
Hmm.
daggers out to go after the past people who had wronged you,
Hmm.
essentially the idea was to get even with what the people who had done wrong earlier to you. And
Hmm.
therefore, you have people who had problem with Awami League, with the notion of secularism, with the notion of inclusive constitution, and the friendship with India. They all came to power, and they all tried to claim power.
Hmm.
And the student movement got, not hijacked is not the right word, but I mean, they formed a party, but they get only 6 or 7% support if you look at the opinion polls in Bangladesh. So I'll be very surprised if there are more than 10 or 12 MPs from that movement, although they were the ones who brought about the change, who are running the next government. I mean, if whether or not they would be an effective government is a different question. But
Hmm.
they were the ones who overthrew Hasina. But they are completely powerless today in Bangladesh. I mean, and in that vacuum, the ones who are stepping in are BNP, which is old wine in new bottle, and Jamaat, which is old sharbat in new bottles for whatever, because
Yeah.
being devout Muslims, they probably don't drink wine, although they might drink it quietly in their own homes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but see, do you consider Usman Hadi and his, maybe not Usman Hadi, but his Inqilab platform, whatever the word is, do you consider them the Islamist extremist radical?
No, 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 I
Oh,
don't. I
okay.
think what if you sit down, I mean, I'll never get the chance to sit down with Usman Hadi. I met some other young leaders on phone and on Zoom, but I think they wanted a Bangladesh that was free of any external influence.
Hmm.
They did not want China to influence them. They did not want America to influence them, nor Pakistan and nor India.
Hmm.
Their anger was targeted at Hasina because Hasina ruled for such a long time and she was so strongly aligned with India. And therefore, he appears in the media as anti India and anti Hasina. But that's
Hmm.
part of it. Basically, he was a Bangladeshi leader.
Hmm.
And the failure to see that is a problem of all of us outside who don't get that.
Hmm. She was a she is, I mean, she still is a Bangladeshi leader, and there are people of, they may have ousted Awami League from the electoral process, but Awami League support is still there, I believe.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. There is
it,
support for
yeah.
Awami League. But I
Hmm.
think both, not just, I mean, Jamaat had a senior leadership. Many of
Hmm.
them were executed during the war crimes tribunals. But both Awami League and BNP clearly need a new set of leaders who are not part of the family.
Hmm. Okay. But there's another question that erupts in my mind before I go to the attacks on media. On 16th of December, which was supposed to be the Victory Day
Yeah,
in Bangladesh.
Bijoy
uh,
Dibosh, as they call it. Yeah.
yeah, and but this year it was a violent day, and I suppose it was 16th or 17th when they attacked Mandi residents of Banglabandhu.
One more
Uh,
time. They've done it twice before. Yeah.
Twice before, yeah. And in India also, we see almost every other day people who are aligned with the ruling BJP attacking Nehru and Gandhiji. So the founding fathers of these countries are, Pakistan is a different story, probably because Jinnah's progeny was not in politics. So it is
And he
divorced
and
from,
he, he died very quickly, right? I mean,
he died very quickly.
he died within
So
a few couple of years or something. Yeah. So
the next year,
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
1948. So and then his family did not have anything to do with the current, or after his death, anything to do with the politics. So Jinnah is not attacked in Pakistan as much as the founding fathers of the rest of the two countries are attacked. How is it going to, I mean, what does it tell, and how will it affect the identity question in both these countries? What do you say?
No, well, in Bangladesh's case, you had Mujib representing a Bengali Muslim identity, and
Mm-hmm.
Nehru and Gandhi were representing a secular Indian identity. I would never call either Nehru or Gandhi a Hindu leader. Jinnah always called Congress a Hindu party, and I don't know. I mean, to some extent, a lot of what Jinnah was saying today is seeming true because of the way the BJP is behaving. But it's the BJP doing it. And
Mm.
if you look at the precedents of BJP, Hindu Mahasabha, for example, it was in partnership with Muslim League during the pre-election, pre-partition elections that took place. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very, very complicated history. Also, all I can say is that yes, you know, when you're frustrated, what's the problem today in Bangladesh and India? Youth unemployment,
Mm.
poverty, inequality, and people getting rich through corrupt means.
Mm.
When that happens, you want to blame somebody,
Yeah.
and you have powerful leaders, so you can't really do much against them. I mean, if you can get rid of them as you did in Bangladesh, that's great. But otherwise, what you do is you take it out on somebody that seemed like an easy target. And today, Congress in India is an easy target because Rahul Gandhi is a very well-meaning leader. He has done everything he has said has turned out to be true, almost everything.
Yeah.
And yet he keeps losing election after election. And we don't even know how fair the elections are, given the campaign about vote chori that he's been running. But given that, you attack Nehru, when you attack Nehru or Gandhi, nobody's
Mm.
going to come and burn down your house. But you
Yeah.
attack anybody, any other leader, people will be very violent against you. And that's one of the beauties or tragedies or ironies of nonviolence.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
that's
and
true.
I
I
think
mean,
history will judge them well. Everyone says every time Modi goes abroad,
mm,
you have these videos of lots of people coming to cheer him and clap and shout. But everybody is an Indian who's brought there by the Indian embassy locally, who are
mm,
Indian origin people who are in that country or whatever. But if you see the pictures of Nehru in America in the
mm.
1950s, there's a motorcade, ticker tape motorcade on Fifth Avenue. And everybody was cheering. There you can't see a single Indian face. Everybody's white or black.
Yeah. But
So,
there,
when
in USA,
Modi does a big event at the Madison Square Gardens,
mm,
99% of the people in the audience are Indians who are Indian Americans or people who are from India on green cards.
yeah,
If you did the same thing with Gandhi, it would have been like the UN Assembly. I mean, it would be
yeah,
people from all parts of the world. And I think
that's true.
that's the part that's important for everybody to remember. And that's the part that hurts the BJP the most.
Yeah, my father-in-law remained he died during pandemic, but a year after pandemic, but till his last breath he remained a proud Gandhian and he would
Yeah,
say it.
yeah.
So
No. I
yeah.
mean, it's I've been to more than 50 countries or 60 countries in the world, and
Mm.
in at least 10 of them, and in Latin America, in Africa, in Europe, there are Gandhi statues and Gandhi avenues. I don't see one for a single BJP leader.
Yeah, of
That,
course.
yeah,
Yeah, there's no
yeah.
comparison
I
at all.
don't see a Godse
Yeah,
statue anywhere or a
yeah,
Savarkar statue anywhere. But I've
that's
seen a
right.
Gandhi statue in South Africa. I've seen a Gandhi statue in Kenya, and I've seen one in Geneva all the time. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful because the Geneva statue is right next to the UN building.
But it's painful to see how they are trying to attack this legacy now. I mean,
Oh, but that they will, right? Because
yeah.
he can never be like Gandhi, so they will attack him.
That's true. And it is rather more painful that the Indian mainstream media, legacy media, is actually helping them attacking, icons like Gandhi ji. Although Salil, this is a discussion for some other time, and I would like to sit with you over a cup of coffee or something stronger about how secular, because in Pakistan, my liberal friends, they insist that Jinnah was secular, and in India, my secular friends they insist that Gandhiji was secular, although both of them use religious symbols in their politics. So we might.
Yeah, so the interesting part is that depends on the definition of secularism. So
Mm,
if you take the French definition, then neither Gandhi nor a Pakistani leader would be secular because the French definition is no religion at all, period. So you can't wear a cross, you can't wear a hijab, you can't wear a turban, you can't do anything,
mm,
right? But the Gandhian approach, that the only approach I know, I don't necessarily agree. I think there's a lot to admire about the French approach, to be
mm,
honest,
mm,
because then the only distinguishing characteristic becomes the color of your skin and your race,
mm,
and that may exposes you even more. But I think
mm.
the Gandhian approach was basically that we do need to think in a bigger power than us,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we
but
all have our
mm,
own separate ways, but we are
mm,
all equal because ultimately
that's
all
true.
we want is the same outcome. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the people who believe that, but there are those people are becoming fewer and fewer.
True, Salil, but you see, I have an issue with using only one religion's symbols in
I
your
agree.
politics.
I agree.
That's
And
that Jinnah did.
that's what I
Jinnah
don't
did.
like it. I mean, that's
Mm,
why, when India tries to do everything saffron and with the Om symbol and all that,
yeah.
problem. And I have a problem with Pakistan where, if you're a Pakistani born person and if you have a passport, you can't
Mm,
you have to denounce Ahmadi as a faith, because that, I believe, is your passport clearly says that I'm not of Ahmadi, and that's blasphemous. And why should anyone have to do that? What I believe is in my mind. What
Hmm.
I do is what I should be accountable for.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. And I just do not agree with identifying yourself as from a specific religion in your passport. State has no point, even knowing. But okay, if you want to know, but don't put it on my, you know,
Yeah, passport. Yeah.
forehead. It's I don't wear religion on my sleeve. I don't want to. So why? But anyway, coming back to Bangladesh, my question about it. I was totally shocked when I heard that Daily Star and the other
Pratham alo.
Pratham was they were attacked because I do not read Bengali, but I do read Daily Star, and if I remember correctly, during Hasina Wajid when she was prime minister, she was against Daily Star like anything,
Yeah.
and so I
No,
could
so
not
so the
believe
logic,
it.
if there is a logic, this is the logic that Hadi was killed.
Mm,
Hadi was anti-India, and Daily Star was pro-India, and therefore attacked Daily Star. That was all there was to it.
yeah, but why? I
No,
mean,
no, of
why
course, no,
why
no, there's
would
no
they
logic.
attack?
There's no logic. I
Then
have a huge
yeah.
regard for Mahfouz Anam. He's a friend of mine. He
Mm,
edits Daily Star, and Matiur Rahman, who runs and edits Pratham
mm,
Flow. But it is just completely crazy.
yeah. So democracy has it a chance in Bangladesh?
I hope so. I mean, I mean, I wish Awami League were part of the elections, because then you would have a real
Yeah.
representation of Bangladeshi society, and you are not going to get that. So, I mean, real democracy in Bangladesh will have to wait for at least 5 more years.
As a Pakistani, as a person who comes from Pakistan and has done journalism most of my life, almost all of my life in Pakistan, I would say this sounds so much like Pakistan, except one fact, which is I think General Waqar his name, he doesn't seem to be too eager to usurp power. I
There's
hope
a
I'm right.
reason. There's a reason.
Hmm.
Bangladesh's military gets a lot of revenue today from
Hmm.
the UN, because Bangladeshis form one of the largest components of the UN peacekeepers.
Hmm.
Western countries don't want to send their own soldiers for peacekeeping operations.
No, Pakistan sends.
Huh?
Pakistan sends to
Oh, Pakistan
Pakistan.
might. Yeah, yeah. No, no, Pakistan sends, of course, of course. But Bangladesh is one of the largest contributors to the UN's force.
Hmm.
If Bangladesh were to go completely on the wrong side of
Hmm.
democracy, then the UN will be forced to cancel Bangladesh. Then the generals and commanders in Dhaka will have a problem,
Hmm.
and they don't want that.
Yeah, I totally agree. But Salil, UN has never done this with Pakistan. Pakistan is one of the top eight, countries who send their troops. Um,
But because
so
Pakistan is so strongly allied with the US, I think that's probably the reason for that.
yeah, but so is. I mean, I'm not saying that UNIS government is as strongly allied with the US as
No,
Pakistan is,
it's not. It's not.
but yeah.
The Yunus government doesn't. I think ultimately it's not going to matter, because if you look at it has it has no legitimacy. It may be
Mm.
legitimate in constitutional sense that
Mm.
they're administering the country, but it has no real legitimacy. And some of the decisions it has taken could be questioned
Mm.
before an independent court, such as outlawing the Awami League and all of that, because
Yeah.
it's not its business. Its business was to restore order
Hmm.
and hold elections. So
Yeah.
it has failed to restore order, but it is holding elections, which is all good. But that's all there is to it.
Yeah, and we will see how free, fair, and transparent these elections are. There's
They
so much.
can't be. Look.
Yeah,
If you eliminate one of the most important political
exactly.
parties, how can it be free and fair? I mean,
Totally.
I'm an Awami League supporter, and you're giving me a choice between BNP, Jamaat, and the students. I
Yeah.
might vote for the students out of my liberal credentials, or BNP because I don't want the country to go to dogs, or
Hmm.
Awami, or the Jamaat because I'm a communal person. But there's nothing that represents my viewpoint. So it is a
Hmm.
flawed election.
Absolutely. And we can say this with, with almost certainty even before the elections,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because, and this sounds so much like, again, my own beloved country, because in 2024, this is exactly what happened in Pakistan.
Yeah.
One of the big parties, three biggest parties in Pakistan, and the party whose leader is, uh, you know, I think he's still the most popular leader in Pakistan.
Oh,
You
he
like
was
it
a
or
great
not?
fast
I
bowler.
mean,
I loved him on the cricket field. Yeah.
I loved him on cricket field. Yeah, I loved him on cricket field, but as soon as he started in politicking, he was terrible. I completely disagree with his politics, but that doesn't mean that I mean, there can be a lot of people in Pakistan who do disagree with his politics. Doesn't mean you eliminate him politically like this.
That's
This
wrong
is
because
not
then
democratic.
you get a stunted parliament. I mean,
Yeah, that's
let's
right.
see. What was Hillary Clinton's phrase? Deplorables for the 47% Americans who were right wing.
Hmm.
And if you have an election without that, then all the Trumpists would be out of it. All the MAGA people will be out of it, and
Yeah.
you can't have that. And so, I mean, I'm glad that US does let you do that, and
Hmm.
that's the way it should be, and that way the way it will be in Britain when Farage, who's a despicable and terrible,
Hmm.
and the Reform Party is a joke. But
Hmm.
I'm glad that they will be able to run the elections. Yeah. You don't
Absolutely.
crowd out the when you crowd out the lunatics, they throw stones from outside, and that might bring down your glass house.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and there is no end to it once you start manipulating the
Yeah,
electoral processes. So, there's no guarantee that your constitution will not be manipulated. We are seeing it in Pakistan. The entire constitution, the entire exercise of amending the constitution is being manipulated like anything. But we hope that the sense prevails in Bangladesh. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much,
yeah.
Cyril, for being
Thank you
with
so
us.
much.
I know how busy you are, but you
No,
still
no, no,
make time
no.
for
This is
us.
this is my end of the year week, so
Ah,
I'm
that's
I
right.
leave for a holiday on Monday night, and so
Oh,
it's good to do
what
this.
a time to go for holiday for journalists because we are busy writing end of the year pieces, all of us,
Well,
But
the reason is I don't have a column anymore, so I don't have to write the
okay.
end of the earpiece. Yeah,
All right. And end of the year pieces are always so difficult because one doesn't keep track of whatever was happening since
yeah,
January, not each and everything. But yeah, so thank you so much. And we will keep following this story for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. And guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen and everyone. So thank you very much for tuning in. Have a good one.